Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Saturday night, I'm just chilling. Hope you guys are grinding forward, staying on your programs, mind, body, and soul. This is how we get through daily discipline, lifestyle management. Let's just tell some stories. We haven't done that in a while. Take just a short break for an evening from the self-help content that I'm always putting out. If you happen to want coaching, you know what to do. Go find my name on social media or follow the link below to my website. Contact me. But let's just tell some stories. Let's talk about the flea market. You ever go to the flea market? You have one near you? We got one near us. It's huge. I love the flea market. I've always liked flea markets. I'm a flea market kind of guy, but I like vintage stores. I like thrift stores. I like antique shops. I like that kind of stuff. I had a store at the flea market for several years. It worked out all right. Started off as just selling overflow parts from the motorcycle shop, just junk that we were taking off the bikes that we were flipping, and we'd buy a cheap bike, customize it up, sell it for a good profit, maybe get it in a bike show or a magazine or whatever. And then we did this so much, we ended up with so many junk parts, and some of the stuff you can sell on eBay, it might have a little value. And a lot of the stuff is worthless, crap. So we'd go down there with a bunch of worthless crap, throw it in my pickup truck, dump it out on a table or in one of their little stalls. Because there's kind of different levels of the flea market. There's like the dirt mall, which is like outside, and that was a good section for us. And we started off in that area, and then we eventually went inside and had a very legitimate store. And when we finally got inside, I was next to this guy selling sports jerseys. And we were selling helmets and jackets, and still some motorcycle stuff. And most of his sports jerseys were legit. But then the World Cup soccer came around, and he made up a whole bunch of fake World Cup soccer jerseys. Had his printer make them up and dropped them off real quick, and he's selling them like hotcakes. But I guess that put him on the radar, because they do have undercover feds, like secret shoppers, and they know what to look for, and they're there. They're in all the flea markets, looking, constantly looking, and they bust people all the time. But he didn't get busted on the World Cup stuff. It was right after that. I guess he made so much on the World Cup shit, he was just like, hell yeah, let's do this all the time. So that was the Tim Tebow, that's right. When Tim Tebow's jerseys first came out, people were selling those. They were going like really quickly here in Florida, because I guess he was from a Florida team. So he had a bunch of Tim Tebow jerseys made up. Bad move, cops swooped in on him. Hardcore, with vans. I mean, we were watching, we're right there, watching the whole thing happen. A whole bunch of white vans pull in. A whole bunch of dudes in black outfits and bulletproof vests and AR-15s and helmets. They go flying into his store, put everybody on the ground. He had a chick working the cash register, on the ground, on the ground. Of course, he gets on the ground, everybody's on the ground. The cops just rob the place, basically. I mean, they start taking everything. They'll work it out later. They took everything. They just start grabbing stuff at gunpoint. He's screwed, and he's trying to argue his case. You don't argue with the feds, with those guys with the guns. They don't argue. They're not going to debate your case. Right down the way, on my same aisle, but down a little bit, they had a little electronics store that was set up pretty nice and seemed like it had been there for a while. And these Asians that worked there, that ran it, they seemed like they did pretty well, and all their stuff was legit. And I don't know why they got into the purses, but they did. They got into selling fake purses, Gucci, Prada, Versace, whatever, you know, those types of name brands. And women pay a lot for those things. I didn't really realize how well purses sell. We ended up selling legitimate purses, but we were selling rock and roll merchandise. So the purses I had would be like Misfits purses. Oh, the Misfits purses sold so well. And for some reason, anything with Frankenstein on it. Chicks love Frankenstein purses. We'd always get the Frankenstein purses. But the Asians were funny, man. And they were kind of a cute couple, real small. They had a little baby that was cute, little toddler, she was cute. And he'd look down the aisle when the time was right, when the aisle was a little empty, and they would bring out trash bags full of fake purses and start dumping them out on the table in the center. And they just dump these purses out, and purses will go flying, and as purses are coming out of the trash bags, I don't care how empty that aisle was, as they're dumping them out, women just come running in like they knew, they could sense it. They got some sort of radar, fake purse radar, and they come running in like animals. And they attack each other like it's a Black Friday sale. They go nuts, they go berserk, and they're clawing and scratching and pushing, acting crazy. And within minutes, less than minutes, a minute and a half or so, I mean, it's quick. All the purses are gone, and the Chinese people are just sitting there with a fat stack of money, of cash. Well, they got busted. I'm not snitching anybody out. They got busted. They were doing that one time. That was like a regular thing for them. And it was always the same. When I saw him looking down the aisle like that, I would know, okay, it's about to go down. Let's watch this. And as the chicks were fighting for the purses, the white vans, it's always the white vans, they show up, guys jump out real quick, AR-15's up, everybody's busted. I dated a girl who worked in the flea market all the way on the other side of the flea market, and she had one of those center tables. She didn't have a store like we had. She just had a center table. And on that table she sold little tiny turtles, alive, real turtles. And they'd be crawling around. She'd have them in white buckets, and people would come up and pay, I don't know how much for a turtle. She'd wrap them up and sell turtles. And we started dating. I picked her up for a date one time. I didn't really quite get how much money she's making off these turtles. Apparently the turtles were illegal. Her and her father got arrested for selling illegal turtles. Father and daughter, turtle hustlers. I mean, when I first met her, I thought it was kind of a weak hustle. Hey, you're selling fraudulent turtles. I don't even know the fish and game wildlife rules, but you're selling illegal turtles, okay. It's not like they had a big store. How much money could you really be making off a little table of illegal turtles? Well, she lived in a mansion, and that was hers. I couldn't believe it. I went to pick her up, was just like, oh my God. So this is turtle money. Turtle money is a whole different level of the game. Her and her dad were the Turtle Mafia. And her dad was hilarious. Her dad would get into rivalries with other vendors and have like turf wars with other vendors. He was in a turf war with another vendor and needed to send them a message. I'm telling you, it's Turtle Mafia. He took a fish, went and got a big fish, and nailed it under their table, because they had a table, when they weren't there. Like when they, after the end of the day, they closed down, he's under there nailing a fish under there. So then the next day happens, and the fish is rotting overnight, and it's a hot day, and they could smell the fish, it's terrible, and he stunk the whole thing out. He's over there giggling. And it says, revenge. Some kind of weird message sent. Flea market message. But they got busted, and they actually went to jail, went to the federal detention place that they have for the turtle hustle. The flea market is a whole different world. Despite the illegal activity that does occur out there, and we no longer have a store. It was no longer viable. We did really well for a little bit, and then as soon as it became no longer viable, I pulled the plug on it. It was just like, you know, screw it. Who wants to be out here anyways? I'm not going to suffer through a downturn. We'll just go do something else. But I still go out there, and I enjoy it because it's literally a whole nother world. Thanks for watching.